How often does it happen that a tiny single mistake causes an entire civilization to collapse? More often than you think. Jared Knott is a historian and author of Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, 39 Tiny Mistakes That Changed the World Forever. Thanks so much for joining us this morning on Morning Live.
Good to be here. Thank you very much.
So your inspiration from this actually comes from a famous quote from Benjamin Franklin.
That's correct. Yes, it's an old adage that's been around for many years, but it comes down through Benjamin Franklin that for want of the nail, the shoe was lost. For want of the shoe, the rider was lost. Want of the rider, the battle was lost. Want of the battle, the empire was lost. The empire was lost, all for the want of a nail. And that's a nice little saying, but how often does it really happen that a single tiny mistake causes an entire empire to collapse? You'll be amazed how often it happens over and over again.
Absolutely. We only have enough time to skim the surface here, but let's go way back in time. And that story about a fallen helmet.
Yes. That's Cyrus the Great, and he's mentioned in the Bible. He is the emperor who gave the children of Israel their freedom from Babylon, and he has an interesting location.
Yeah, Cyrus was like the father of Persia, basically, right?
That is correct. So he's one of the first world conquerors. And his temple, by the way, it's over 2,000 years ago. His temple is still there in Iran, which used to be called Persia.
So he's going back before Genghis Khan and all these other notable figures.
Way back. And anyway, the words of his tomb are, "Oh, you traveler who comes to visit me, and I know you will come, for I am the one who gave the Persians their empire. Do not begrudge me the small amount of dirt that I placed over my bones." But anyway, here's this story quickly. There's the giant fortress there of Sardos had a real sheer wall to it, and they thought that it was impregnable, so it was not particularly well defended because they thought it was no one could scale it. But then a soldier accidentally kicks his helmet off the top of the wall. It comes tumbling down all the way down to the bottom of the fortress wall. The soldier then gets off the wall, follows a pathway down to the bottom, gets his helmet, and it climbs all the way back up. But one of Cyrus the Great's men sees him. Look. There's a pathway up the side of the wall. So the next night, a raiding party goes up that pathway, goes over the top of the wall, goes over and forces the gates open. Cyrus's men come flooding into the city, and they conquer the fortress of Sardos and conquer Lydia, all because of a soldier with clumsy feet.
Amazing. I want to flash forward. Of course, you're joining us from across the border. One big story that I wasn't aware of with the Watergate scandal, a tiny blunder, a piece of tape on the door. Yes,
you actually see this in the old movie, All the President's Men, but the teaser there is a single piece of tape rotated several inches the wrong direction, changed the outcome of the Vietnam War. The United States might very well have won except for this single tiny mistake. When the Watergate burglars were breaking into the Watergate complex from the parking garage into the office building, they were told to hold the striker on the door down. They had jimmied with a piece of tape in the vertical position. They made a mistake and they put it in the horizontal position. So now it can be seen by the night watchman walking down the hallway. If in the vertical position, they might have missed it. They put a plug in the receiver. It might have been missed altogether. And Frank Wills, the door's been jimmied here. He calls the DC police.
And that's how it all unfolded and changed history.
That's right. He had to call them twice. They were trying to send a uniformed officer to answer the call, but the rumor is, strong rumor, that the uniformed officer was in a local bar intoxicated and could not respond, so they had to send the bum patrol. That's 3 officers dressed as hobos in an old jalopy. They show up at the Watergate complex. The lookout does not recognize them as police officers. They come in and they arrest James McCord. Watergate tumbles into one step after the other. Henry Kissinger gave an interview and he said that they knew that the North Vietnamese were going to be testing the treaty, and the plan was to go in and bomb the living daylights out of them once again to get them back into compliance. But they were so weak politically they could not. South Vietnam collapses, Nixon administration collapses, it all falls apart because of a single piece of tape rotated several inches in the wrong direction and a drunk cop.
Wow, I wish we had more time. That's one of 39 examples in the book. We're going to link up your website so we can get a copy of Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, 39 mistakes, tiny mistakes that changed the world forever. Jared Knott, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.